This is Eric Best, and you're listening to CarSessions 2035 with Coolie Ranx. Turn it up, tune it in, fill your cup with the sound medicine. Hello, operator, are you listening? Coolie Ranx on a mission. Catch the fire, turn the ignition. Coming to your loud sound system. Let me show you valiance and valor, a hero that must make a stand. Shine your light, this night isn't over.
Good evening and good morning and good night, and boy, shout out to the people in New Orleans and Mississippi and those areas that got hit by this tornado. I saw some of the reports the other day, and it was just today, and it just looked really messed up over there. So send out some love to some of those people out there. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, and my name is Coolie Ranx here on the CarSession 2035, and we've got incomparable, the bad man. Yo, son, we have Roger Rivas in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Look, some shots for Roger Rivas. Pam, 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 pam. Wagwan, my big friend. Wagwan in the building. Boom. Yes, sir. How you mean? Legal. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Coolie? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to finally actually get to spend a little bit more time than just
Right.
Yo, this is Roger Rivas. Go do something with him on the sound right now.
Man, how much fun was that though? That was
that was incredible. I've never done it. I've never done sound system on a ska record before like that. That was crazy for me, but it felt natural. You know what I'm saying? It felt like, yeah, I could do this. Yeah, man.
You know, it was all organic, and I think that's when you get like the coolest times, is that it's not overly planned or anything, right? So for everyone out there listening that doesn't really know what we're talking about, we were at the Supernova Ska Festival, and I was DJing, and you know, I like to mix it up. You know, I have a little ska set, have a little skinhead set, rocksteady set, and I was rocking some ska music, and Coolie just came up, grabbed the mic, and killed it up there. You know, like totally toasting it.
It was just a vibe. It was just a vibe, and it was like it was incredible for me. Like I said, I've never had a sound system opportunity where I'm toasting over ska music, and it just gave me an idea that that's what I actually need to do, a record like that. That's like, I've never done that, and I haven't heard a record that's straight up like that. I mean, they've definitely got Prince Buster and people that have done it like that in the past,
right.
But in 2022, I don't think anyone has done that. I could be wrong.
Nah, you hit it. You know, I don't hear that element of, there's a lot of bands that want to capture and recreate the old school sound, and there's certain elements I think people gravitate towards, right? You know, you had bands that trying to sound like 1969 reggae, and everyone finds these certain pockets, but I don't think anyone's really touched on that that specific style of toasting in those years, and so, man, it's like you could tell. I mean, who listens to the music, you could tell who listens to the music, whether you're a musician, a singer. And you, my friend, listen to the music because it was just natural. You know, what you were throwing on top was complimenting those old school 45s. And we got to do more of that, man. Actually.
Dude, if you send me some tracks, I'll finish it by next week.
Like shoot. I love it.
I'm not even joking. Like, you send me them tracks, I'll finish it by next week.
See, here's the deal, too. As soon as when we got done doing that weekend, I specifically, because I'm the kind of guy that has like a million ideas, and I'm trying to get better at it. But, instead of kind of dipping into like a million ideas, start finishing and seeing a bunch of stuff out to the end. So that's one idea I have to really record some stuff, some old school. 'Cause a lot of people know my work from more of the reggae side, but to really record some old school sounding ska music and, of course, get you involved. So, I just got to clone myself so I can have more time to do it all. But yeah.
I know you're a busy guy. I looked at your Wikipedia, and it was like reading that who's who. When did this guy get a chance to chill?
I love it, man, because it's like I am one of those guys that's like a workaholic. So I love it. I talk to people, and sometimes, I mean, we're only human, so everyone's gonna get stressed out when they have too much on their plate. But I love it. You know, if I finish the day and I haven't accomplished A, B, C, and D, then that's when I get bummed out. I just love, grinding. You know, we only have so many freaking, years to on this earth. So why not,
That's a fact.
make an imprint and
That's a fact.
so I love it,
I,
have my hand in this, and this, and this, um, just a bunch of stuff. And so I'm blessed for that, man. I can't complain.
yeah, man, you're really doing your thing. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. You could ask me
Because
more than one. Go for it.
I'm gonna be like 1,000% honest.
Right.
I only heard about you during COVID.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
You know,
Hey,
like, because you were on the internet, right?
right, right.
Right. So my
Yeah,
wife is watching you. She's like, "Yo, you gotta watch this guy, Roger Rivas." I'm like, "Who?" I'm like, "What?" I'm in a bubble. I stay like real quiet. I'm in the hood. I don't really venture
right.
outside of my little thing unless I gotta do a show. So I don't really know what's going on, who says this or that. But then I said, "Oh, let me check this dude out." And I was like, "Oh, his podcast is fire."
Nice, guys.
I
Nice.
was like, oh, damn, we're not even trying right now. I'm like, we trying, but we're not accomplishing. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right. No, you guys got it on lockdown, man. Come on, you got to stop it. I've been watching what you guys been doing, and it's so entertaining. It comes natural to you guys. I mean, the podcast we were doing, which we got to revisit it, because we haven't done one in a while. But the Reggae Podclash, me and my homie Devin Morrison from, um, he was in the Expanders, and he has his own project that he's currently doing his own solo thing called Man Like Devin. But we man, we've had this idea forever, pre-COVID, and it
whoa,
takes something as bummy as COVID to get people to kind of pivot and do other things. So
yeah,
then me and Devin started, putting it into place, and the concept being just sitting down and talking to like as many old school Jamaican artists as we
that
could.
was fire,
And
fire.
then that morphed into, actually getting modern artists, contemporary artists, that are doing their thing in the reggae circuit as well. Try to marry the two, because
Mm,
Devin comes from
yes,
an area, I come from an area where we've been listening to Jamaican music for a long time. And over here in California, we have a big scene of modern reggae bands, a lot of
mm,
modern reggae bands. And
yeah,
with that comes a huge audience that loves what they're doing. And so
right.
at times you get pockets of guys that definitely know the old school stuff. And then at times, you know, it seems like the audience or even some of the bands are kind of craving and hungry for a lot of the old school stuff. So what we try to do on the show is kind of marry both of those scenes, because mission accomplished if I can kind of do that to some of these new school artists or and have that parlay into their fan base. So it's all about educating the peeps about the old school stuff, the real stuff,
Yeah,
the not
the
diluted
roots,
kind of stuff.
the
Yeah.
foundation. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sure, sure. So we're fortunate, man. We interviewed so many cool people, like I said, legends and contemporary artists, and we got to get back on that because we've been, it's funny because uh, the COVID life, everybody's doing a certain kind of thing, and then when the gates
Right.
open up a little more, then you kind of go
Yeah.
back to your normal grind, and so that podcast definitely the attention to there. You probably went lower on the priority list, but it was so
Yeah,
much
yeah,
fun to
yeah.
do.
But it
But
was
we got to
really
jump
good.
back
It
on
was
it.
very entertaining. Definitely
Thank
entertaining. You
you.
had a packed audience and everything. You know, it it makes me wonder how do you're Latin? Well, you're Latin American
Yeah.
what? You're Latin
So
American, yes?
I'm I'm Mexican American, right? I don't speak Spanish, which
Oh,
sucks
okay,
because it's
okay.
over here. Obviously, we got a lot of Mexican Americans and first generation, second generation, um, and I am so watered down that we're like my parents don't even speak Spanish. But it's kind of you got your pros and cons that come with that. When you're certain generations down the line, as far as like opportunity and all that stuff. So I'm very grateful. But my gosh, man, I wish I had, some of them tools in my back pocket, like to really just throw down Spanish and get down on that. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
Mexican American, lived in Los Angeles my whole life. My parents, same thing. And my grandparents too moved over when they were like really young. So yeah. And at the
So
time, man,
how?
my parents don't speak Spanish because at that time it was considered like it was hindering them, so their parents were like not going to speak Spanish to them, that certain generation, because in their eyes it kind of, maybe you lost opportunity or you were looked at a certain way, so you're just like, all right, get with it, you're going to be
Right.
American and speak English and not have that
You have to
bilingual.
assimilate. Yeah, you have to
Right,
assimilate.
right.
Yeah.
And then come to find, right, that when it trickles down to my generation, it's like, oh man, it would have been really cool to kind of integrate, those I mean, that language and some of those old school, traditions or whatnot that come with that. Because I mean, like I said, there gets to a point where everybody's just like, all right, you gotta conform as the generations go on. But nonetheless, I mean, shoot, pros and cons, baby. I'm grateful.
So how did you get into reggae music? And I know there's a big population in California, but how did you specifically get into Jamaican music? Like become so
Yeah,
so
I got
versatile
into
with it?
For sure, I got into Jamaican music super young. I was fortunate on that as well because everyone has their own story. Mine goes where, like, when I finished elementary school, so I was like starting junior high school, probably around 6th grade. I was in band, right? So I played trumpet in band when I was young. How kids are always playing some like instrument in band. And I had a homie of mine named Derek. I'm still friends with him to this day. He actually lives in New York. Every time I go over to New York, I was in New York with Jason Mraz this past summer, and I met up with him. Anyways, Derek is the reason I'm into this, because his older sister was dating a skinhead, and she was like, like a bird herself. So his older sister was like the coolest of the cool. We would always be like, oh shoot. And so it trickled down to him. He would be coming to school, band, wearing bomber jacket, two-tone patches. And that's what started it. It was like this whole, I started getting not CDs at the time, it was cassettes. Like, there was This Our Two-Tone was one of the cassettes. And then slowly but surely, it started trickling down onto Derek and all of his friends. So I remember getting a tape that said Studio One, like in Sharpie. And I didn't know, I thought it was a band, Studio One. So I remember going home, listening to it, like falling in love with it. And going back to Derek and going, hey, let me get more of that band. He goes, oh, which one? And I was like, that band, Studio One. And so you kind of don't know. And then you find out that tape ended up being it was all Scotalites. So it was Studio One music, but the band was called the Scotalites. And so, you combine the throwback music that we're being fed from Derek's older sister, combine that with contemporary bands at the time like Hepcat, and it starts to happen. You start to fall in love with it. And my dad plays keyboards. He has, like, ever since I could remember. So I grew up around keyboards. So we have a very musical family, even my grandfather. And when you put those two worlds together, you just gravitate towards, I think, any genre of music more so. And that's not to compare people's love of music, but when you're a musician and it's in your blood, you just have a different ear for it, I think. And so, yeah, that's when the love of Jamaican music started. And then it just kind of progressed, different chapters in that whole journey, discovering Jackie Matu, and then, discovering 1969 reggae, or like, skinhead reggae type stuff. And then discovering like hardcore organ-led reggae that sounds like circus music to some people. Yeah. So yeah, it's just very, very blessed to have kind of grown up in that scene, and I look at other genres and I go, I'm glad I didn't go to that or that or that, it's like.
We're gonna we come right back. We're just gonna play a couple of your videos and then we'll come right back. We don't wanna lose you. Yo. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with a man named called Roger Rivas in the building. Oh, your man.
Yo, this is Roger Rivas, and you're listening to Car Sessions 2035.
Oh, your man. Yeah.
So how does it go? So this is live, and we're like kind of talking in the backstage.
Yeah, we're backstage.
Cool.
All of that go, we got. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as we enter back into the studios with the man them call Roger Rivas. We're talking off camera there, and dude, all right, let me just roll some of your credits that I can remember what we was talking about. You're a producer.
Yes, sir.
You mix and master many records, or do you just mix?
I actually do both. I don't claim to be a professional. Mastering's a whole process that, you definitely have respect for. It's that end stage of getting your music done. But I mean, over the years, I've definitely mastered my own stuff, and I've mastered for quite, just many people that I end up mixing with too. Kind of see the whole project out. So yeah, I consider myself,
master too.
master.
Okay, so we just watched that video where you're doing some dub. Dub is another thing that you love as well?
Yeah, man. I really, really do. Like I said, I'm just the ultimate geek as far as Jamaican music goes. So I started collecting at a young age. I started getting into organs, because of just the love for organ, the love for the part that organ plays in Jamaican music and in rocksteady music. There's some organ in ska music, but the majority of it is, early reggae music. So when I was young, I'd be going on the classifieds over here in Los Angeles. We have like Craigslist and other classifieds, and just finding these organs that no one was really gravitating towards. But I knew they were cool because I knew what they were, whether it's a Hammond organ, Lowry organs, Krumar organs, Farfisa organs, anything. And I'd start collecting those. Well, there's only so much space you have. So, I mean, the organs will come and go and yada, yada, yada. But
are you checking the credits on the back of the record to find out what instruments they were using, what organs they were using? Or how are you grasping the sound and knowing which organ to get?
So if you're lucky, maybe in the credits, they'll kind of describe what's going on. But I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's just by listening. It's just by having the ear. So if right now, if I were to hear a track, I could definitely tell you like what kind of organ is on there, especially Jamaican music, because they only had so many options. So, I'll geek out. For example, like knowing each studio, right? So you have like, Dynamic Studio, Beverly's. I call it Beverly's, but a lot of stuff that was recorded there was on the Beverly's label. Leslie Kong was the producer, and they had like a Lowry organ right there. And Studio One, obviously they had the B3 with Jackie. Lee Perry, there's even footage of online of him playing. There's a Vox Continental, like a double manual Vox. So listening, if you're lucky, you catch a photo or something in some of the, in the back of the album or, online somewhere. But for the most part, it's just the ear. All the different kinds of organs, they have a very distinct characteristic to it. There's a transistor organ, there's a tone wheel organ, and within the tone wheel organ, there's that family. Transistor organ, there's that family. So there's all kinds of. It's just the geek stuff, But
you're a scientist, man. I hear the scientist in you. Scientist, he's over there too.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he lives.
He's over.
Not far. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But touching on the dub element that you mentioned is having that whole mentality of collecting, instruments. And I've been recording at a young age too. It just was a natural thing. It was a natural transition to start collecting, effects and processors that they use in Jamaica. So like everything in here, like I was telling you in the break, everything in here is here for like a specific reason. I'm just not buying something because it's the latest and greatest or at Guitar Center or whatnot. It's everything in here is either used at a certain era. So for example, there's a bunch of maybe I can do this and you could check this out over here, a bunch of keyboards and stuff. Right now, though, we have the Nord set up for last night's session, but, all kinds of keyboards and stuff. And there's a bunch of cool things I got for like even more recently over COVID, the dance hall kind of era, early digital dance hall, kind of nerded out on that even. So I got a bunch of the old synthesizers and drum machines yeah,
all right, all
that they
right.
actually used
Yeah.
in Jamaica. You know, like I said, it's a nerd thing. And so a lot of the times, a lot of these instruments aren't easy to come by, and they're not cheap either. But since they're vintage, you get lucky and you come across them online or even at a local, ads and stuff like that. So,
So
yeah,
you jump from being an engineer into being a DJ.
yeah, I wouldn't say jump. I'd say like all these things kind of have happened organically over time just by listening to Jamaican music since I was young. So um, you start off as a listener, and then you kind of morph into a musician, and then you love the music so much that you see DJs you respect, and you start collecting records. And then yeah, I've been DJing for many many years, um, and I think it's just natural when you start collecting records. The idea of going out and playing, the good music that you've collected over the years and sharing it with people. There's something special there. I love nothing more than going and listening to someone that has amazing records, not just because they're rare or whatever, just because they're really good songs, and every DJ is a tastemaker. So it's their job to kind of tell you a story, you
So
know.
are you a purist where you only deal with vinyl or will you deal with CDs as well?
Yeah, only vinyl. It's not for any kind of like stuck up reason other than I do believe, especially now in my years of having to have a trained ear, right? Because I mix
Mm,
music for people, for clients, and I'm doing dub versions and mastering, like you said earlier. You have to have that trained ear that kind of hears the extra umph that maybe the average ear doesn't really, it doesn't pop out to the average ear. And the reason I say that is because when you're spinning vinyl, there is indeed a certain sonic quality that comes with that moment, that comes with playing a 45 record, an original press 45 record on a good system. You're gonna reach the top of what that music was intended for, if it makes sense. And in my ear, it's just this. That's when it's mad magical for me. That's when it's like, now when you talk about CDs, you talk about things being compressed more. When you talk about represses on 45s, I've gotten really good represses. I have tons of represses, but there are a lot of represses that they compress the music before it
mm,
even hits the vinyl. So it defeats the purpose of it, because it's like, okay, I have it on vinyl, but the whole purpose of having an original press, for me at least, is you get the open sonic field. The music isn't compressed. They press the music a certain way in Jamaica at that time, the record plants, the way it was mastered for vinyl. Nowadays, a lot of the represses are just, for me, for my ear, they sound
mm,
compressed and they sound
mm.
like I'm being cheated of something. I'm being
Woo,
cheated of headroom,
mm,
if you will, like the lowest of the lows and the highest of the highs. I'm kind of being cheated of, and I know it
mm,
sounds geeky, and I'm going into like another
mhm,
area, but and I have no. At the end of the day, man, I have nothing but love for DJs that come out, whether it's repress, original press, whether it's CD, because at the end of the day, you're having a good time. You're hearing the songs. I think what means more is the actual DJ. Like, they're the tastemaker. What
mm.
kind of journey are you going to take me on?
So
And
can you tell the difference between a CD playing and a vinyl playing?
that's a good question. The answer is it depends, because there are great CDs that are mastered. It depends who's mastering them, and when you have that last step of compression, I think that's what kills it for me the most, is an over compressed tune. So there is great clarity that comes with CD and digital. Like, don't get me wrong, that's another area of feeling magical about music, because you can have. I remember when CDs first came out, my uncle was like, he had the CD player in his car, right? And he had gotten, like, I don't know what it was. It might have been like Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation or something like that, right? It was like when CDs were first happening. And I remember the clarity was so free, because he had a dope system. Like, his car was all decked out, had the bass cranked, had his EQ on lock. And I was like, whoa, and I was a kid. Like, this was in the 80s, and I was a kid. So I'll never forget noticing the difference there, from obviously radio signal to like cassette tapes. So there's I think there's a place for both, really. I think it depends on what system you're playing them both on. That plays a
Mhm.
large part in it. So many variables, you know. But if you got a CD and it's good and it ain't scratched and it was mastered nice and it sonically sounds good and it's on a good system,
Yeah.
that'll blow you away, you know. So,
Chris
so I gotta-
Ryan, Chris Ryan, can you hear me? Your thoughts, because you play a lot of CDs. You got millions of CDs. Can you tell the difference between the vinyl and the CD? Uh, uh.
it,
Let me look and see what the audience is saying out there. Oh my God, there's people talking. Rock steady, Steph. Big up yourself. Dennis Baller's in the building. Dennis Baller's in the building. So we got the
Dennis
Twitch
Ball,
on.
that alone. I love
We
Dennis.
got Texas in the building, and we got this
Baby
is
Ball.
Roger. Who else we got in here? Dennis Ball. So they're on the check-in and checking out. So best experience,
Yeah.
spinning, engineering, or on the stage, vibes wise. Like
Ooh,
what's
man. They're all different. I would say if I have to pick one on stage, without a doubt, you know, I think that
instantaneous, yeah.
it's a drug, you know, like my dad always given me advice over the years, but I remember when I was a kid, it's like, you know, he nailed it. You know, it's a drug that you can't get anywhere else, you know, and you can't really describe it unless you're there on stage and you have that moment where you're interacting with the crowd's interacting with you. Just everything's right, you know. Maybe you're on a good one, maybe you're nice and buzzed, maybe you're totally sober, but it's just that moment where everything's working out. And yeah, man, I've had many magical moments on stage, on the stage, you know, playing with whether it's Agrolites or, you know, I just got done playing with Jason Mraz last summer. That was really cool. Right now,
Did you see Kevin there?
yeah, oh, most definitely. I was with Kevin the whole time. Yeah.
Wicked. Shout out.
Yeah,
to
we were
Kevin
sharing a bus together, man. We were like one bunk away from each other. Me and Kevin at the end of every night, you could pretty much guarantee that me and Kevin were in the back lounge bumping old school reggae music, and it was just, you know, smoky back then, you know. I mean, so, yeah, it was a good time with Kevin.
Listen, we're gonna wrap this up. We don't stay on too long. We don't prolong the whole thing, but I want to thank you for coming through, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, and the reason why he didn't have his keyboard set up because he had a session last night, and it happens. It happens. You know what I mean?
We were in here with the Expander Boys. They were here. We're doing some vocals, and man, a lot of the stuff is like the stuff that I work on is not yet at the end of its stage, so I can't really talk too much about it. But just know that, you know, it's some cool stuff.
Coming.
It's with Easy Star Records and Michael Goldwasser as the producer. So I'm really stoked for you guys to hear it.
Nice. You're always doing so. Oh, Chris Ryan approves.
Nice. Cool, man.
Yo, thank you so much, Roger, for coming on, man. I appreciate you getting up and on the right time zone. You know what I mean? You can see right now. I don't know if you can see right now, but we got nightfall upon me and rain, and we're getting the back end of that hurricane, that tornado that happened in New Orleans.
Oh, so, man, yeah. Stay safe, man, and get indoors. And I appreciate you asking me to be on here, man. Like I said, we should do a follow up. You know, when I got some more things to talk about. And I love what you guys are doing, man. I mean, I think people need this kind of stuff. You know, especially even though the COVID thing is kind of you know, diminishing a little bit. People still need to.
We need our own shows, because if we don't do it, no one will do it. There is no industry that's coming here to do this for us and celebrate us. No one's. We are the industry, so we have to celebrate our people while we're still here, and we can give them their flowers. So enough respect to you, my brother.
Thank you so much, Coolie, man.
I appreciate you, Roger, and I appreciate Chris Ryan holding it down there for me. Ladies and gentlemen, we are CarSession 2035. You don't know it already. Let's drop a little laser here, because, you know, yeah, man, enough things I got going. Let me see if I can drop one of Roger Rivas' tune before we go out. You know what I mean?
Yo, this is Roger Rivas, and you're listening to CarSessions 2035.
Yeah, man, how you mean? Nice and easy, ladies and gentlemen. Big up yourself. You know, so this is Mr. Ranx. Shout out to Mr. Roger Rivas and the whole of the Cali crew, the Texas crew, the New York crew, the Colorado crew, the UK crew, anywhere y'all at. Yeah, man, how you mean? Bumblecleat. Jamaica, big up yourself everywhere. Jamaica way. Listening to the ivory touching of the man called Roger Rivas. My son is here. Have mercy. We're not gonna be here next week. I think we're taking it off, Mr. Chris Ryan. Is that correct? Yes. We will return the following week, and our special guests will be Rosie Rebel. Yeah, yeah, man. He's in the building. Big up yourself. Nice woman is here. And we are out of here. Have mercy. Something like this we gotta do, bro. This and that other stuff. Yo.
Sure. For sure. And you know
it
what?
was so nice.
I got the tracks in my head.
You got the check.
I got these tracks. I just got to do them, you know.
Listen,
as a producer, my ears go. When you were there in the Supernova, it's like immediately. Just because I may not have like hit you up like and chatted your ear off.
It's all good.
I'm
it's all
like,
good.
oh, this is perfect for this because your styling is amazing. I mean, dude, you may have just heard of me, but player, I've been knowing you for years, so don't get it twisted. Like, I mean, Marlboro Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that back in the day, like, just
I gotta thank Daddy Uray for that, man. I'm old school because of the old guys that came before me, man. That laid it down. You had to have, that was a rite of passage. You had to learn his style before you could go on and do anything else.
Good
so
point.
Shout out to Daddy Uray, Brigadier Jerry, all those
Briggy.
people. Yeah, man, Briggy. We just crowned him in New York City. We just crowned him.
Nice,
yeah, man. Big celebration in Amazuru. So we went there and we celebrated with Briggy and watched it. But we're gonna cut out because this can go on for a night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It could go on all night. Because I didn't even touch anything. Anyway, we're just touching a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for hanging out with us. This is CarSession 2035, and we're going to bring forward the man called Chris Ryan to take us out. Any video you got with Roger, it'll be nice. I think I said you. Oh, no. Okay.
This is Eric Best, and you're listening to CarSessions 2035 with Coolie Ranx. Turn it up, tune it in, fill your cup with the sound medicine. Hello, operator, are you listening? Coolie Ranx on a mission. Catch the fire, turn the ignition. Coming to your loud sound system. Let me show